Good morning. Today is our Chapter 2 Math Review, Part 2. Okay, on number 11, I'm going to do it the traditional way. So we have 7/8, and then we're going to change this to a multiplication, and then we're going to multiply the inverse of it. I'm going to look to see if I can cross cancel. It doesn't look like I can. 7 times 5 is 35. 8 times 3 is 24. I have a bigger number on the top, so I know my bottom number can go in. 24 can go into 35 one time. 1 24s, and I'm going to have 35 minus 24. 5 from 4 is 1, 3 from 2 is 1. So I'm going to have 11 left over. So I'm going to have 1 and 11 24s. Looking at the next problem, I can't divide or multiply until I turn them into improper fractions. So 2 times 10 is 20, plus the 1 is 21 over 10, divided by 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6 over 5. Now if I'm going to, I could use fraction tiles, but it's just easier to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to change this to multiplication, and I'm going to inverse this, so it's going to be 5 over 6. I'm going to look to see if I can reduce or simplify before. So I'm going to look at my crosses. 21 and 6, I can't, well, yeah, actually I could do something about it. 3 goes into 21 7 times, and 3 goes into 6 2 times. Now my 5 and my 10, I know 5 goes into 5 1 time. 5 goes into 10 2 times. So now I have 7 times 1, which is 7. And I have 2 times 2, which is 4. Again, I can, the top number is bigger. So 4 goes into 7 one time with 3 left over. So I get 1 3/4. Sophie has 3/4 quarts lemonade. If she divides the lemonade into glasses, that holds 1/16 quart. How many glasses can Sophia fill? And show your work. So I have 3/4 and 1/16. Those are, and they've given you divides. So I have 3/4 divided by 1/16. Now remember, I can change this division symbol, 3/4, change it to a multiplication, and then do the inverse, so 16 over 1. I like to cross multiply. I know 4 can go into 16, and 4 can go into 1. So it goes, 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 16 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we get 12 over 1, or 12 glasses. Ink cartridges weigh 1/8 pound. The total weight of the cartridge in the box is 4.5 pounds. How many cartridges does the box contain? Show your work and explain why you chose the operation you did. Well, if each one weighs 1/8 pound and the whole box is 4/8, I'm going to choose to divide because I need to find the number of 8s in 4.5. So when I do that, I get 4.5 divided by the 1/8. And in order to divide, I need to change this into an improper fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. So I get 9/2 divided by 1/8. Instead of using fraction tiles, I want to turn this, or a model, I'm going to turn this into a multiplication problem. So I have 9/2 times 8 over 1, because I have to do the reciprocal. Looking to see if I can cross cancel. I can't with the 9 and the 1, but I can with the 2 and the 8. 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 8 4 times. So I have 9 times 4, which is 36, and 1 times 1, which is 1, or 36. So my answer is 36 cartridges. Beth had 1 yard of ribbon. She uses 1/3 yard for a project. She wants to divide the rest of the ribbon into 1/6 yard long. How many 1/6 yard pieces of ribbon can she make? Explain your solution. So it's kind of like the problems we did yesterday. So first we're going to subtract to find the amount of ribbon that's left over. So we have the 1 yard, and we're going to subtract the 1/3 yard. So 1 minus 1/3. And when I do that, remember, I'm going to take my 1, put it over 1. I cannot subtract bottom numbers that are different, so I'm going to have to multiply this side to make the bottom be 3 by 3 over 3. So now I get 3 times 1, which is 3, 3 times 1, which is 3. So we have 3 thirds minus 1/3 which is going to give us 2/3. Now that I've done that, I can now divide to find out how many groups of 1/6 are in this 2/3 right here. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to say 2/3 divided by 1/6. Again, I don't want to use a model, so I'm going to change this into a multiplication problem. So I'm going to switch this to 6/1. Look for my common numbers. When I cross cancel, 2 and 1 can't be, but 3 and 6 can be. 3 goes into, and I'll use the number 3. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 6 two times. So now I have 2 times 2, which is 4, 1 times 1, which is 1, 4/1, or 4. So the answer is 4 pieces. Okay, complete the table by finding the products and then answer the questions in part A and part B. So if my division is 1/5 divided by 3/4, I'm going to change it to a multiplication, which is 1/5 times 4/3. The answer is going to be the same. They're just showing you the reciprocal. So it's going to be 4/15. So we have 2/13 divided by 1/5, which is the same thing as 2/13 divided by 5/1. So my answer is going to be the same, 10/13. And they're just trying to show you that division and multiplication, as long as you use the inverse, is going to be the same. So we have 4/5 divided by 3/5. So they're going to change the reciprocal. See how they change the reciprocal? The answer is going to remain the same. Explain how each pair of division and multiplication problems are the same and how are they different. Well, the first fraction in both sets of the problems is the same on both of them. But in the multiplication problem, the second fraction is the reciprocal and the second fraction in the related division problem. The answers for the division problems will match the answers for the related multiplication problems. Part B. Explain how to use the pattern defined in the table to rewrite a division problem including fractions as a multiplication problem. Well, you can rewrite division problems involving fractions by keeping the first fraction the same and then changing the operation to multiplication and use the reciprocal of the second fraction. It's what we've been doing all week. 17. Margie hiked 17 7/8 mile trail. She stopped every 3 2/5 mile to take a picture. Martin and Tina estimated how many times Margie stopped. So as Margie's estimation, she changed 17 7/8 to 16 and 3 2/5 to 4, which gave us 16 divided by 4 to equal 4. Tina, however, made 17 7/8 18 and 3 2/5 3, which made the problem be 6. So who made the better estimate? Use numbers and words to explain your answers. Well, Tina's estimate is better. Both Martin and Tina used compatible numbers, but 18 is a better estimate for 17 because 17 7/8 is only 1/8 away from 18. But 17 7/8 is almost a whole number away from 16. And the 3 is also a better estimate for 3 2/5 than 4 because 3 2/5 is closer to 3 than 3 2/5 is closer to 4. Brad and West are building a tree house. They cut 12.5 foot of pieces of wood into 5 of the same length pieces. How long is each piece of wood? Show your work. Well, I've got 12.5, and I'm gonna be cutting them into 5. So times 1/5, but I can't take the 12.5 and times it times 1/5. I have to change this into an improper fraction. So 12 times 2 is 24 plus 1 is 25. So I have 25/2 times 1/5. Try and see if I can simplify prior to doing this, and I can, not with the 2 and the 1, but with the 5 and the 25, because 5 goes into both of them. So 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 times 1 is 5, 2 times 1 is 2, and since 5 is a bigger number than 2, I know that 2 can go into it. 2 goes into 5 2 times, because 2 times 2 is 4, with 1 left over. So I'm going to have 2 1/2. And that's the end of the review, so good luck on your test tomorrow.